My name is Mark O'Keefe. I'm executive editor for Herald-Standard.com, and I want to welcome you to this Herald-Standard.com editorial board meeting with candidates for Fayette County Commissioner in the November 8th general election. I want to thank the candidates for agreeing to meet with our editorial board, and they are Democratic incumbent Vincent Sabatowski, Republican incumbent Angela Zimmerlink, Democratic Party challenger Al Ambrosini, and Republican challenger Dave Lohr. Voters will pick two candidates when they go to the polls in the November 8th general election. The top three vote getters will take office in January. We'll give each of the candidates 3 minutes to make an opening statement, and then we'll ask a series of questions. You'll have 2 minutes to reply to each of those questions, and then we'll give you 3 minutes for a closing. So we'll start with the opening, and I think that's Mr. Ambrosini.
Thank you, Mark. I guess the thing that I should probably start talking about is a little bit about my background, and then maybe just reiterate why I've decided to run for the county commissioner's office. First, I'm a native of Fayette County my entire life. I've graduated from Connellsville area high school, and a Penn State graduate with an electrical engineering degree. I also have worked, some of my work history, I worked for Allegheny Power for 30 years. I'm retired from that company. I worked in corporate management most of that time. I also have a small consulting firm, management consulting firm that I've had for about 17 years. And I have a small business in the Connellsville area. It's a small apartment rental business that I've had for about 35 years. So I've had a fair amount of small business experience, a lot of corporate experience. Even some of that corporate experience has been in the regulatory areas of government. And also, well, I guess then the next thing is, why do I want to be a county commissioner? Everybody thinks I'm a little bit nuts because, why screw up my retirement? I'd be playing golf. This would be a great day to play golf, by the way. And the reason is because, simply because of my experience, my background, my knowledge. I'm probably a little too young to do nothing yet or play golf all the time, realistically. So I want to do some public service work, and I think that with my background, with my experience, and where we are today, I mean, we have some fantastic opportunities in just ahead of us, and I think my skill sets and the tools that I could bring to this office can help us make Fayette County much more prosperous in the future, and hopefully the citizens of the of Fayette County will vote for me on November 8th, and we can see what we can do for the county. Thank you.
Okay. Dave?
I appreciate the opportunity to be before the editorial board again. It's a real privilege to be here. It's a real privilege to actually be running for county commissioner. I think it's a great opportunity that I have over the years, and as many of you know, I've done it in the past. But first off, my name is Dave Lohr. I'm from Connellsville. Graduated Connellsville High School in 1975. I am a U.S. Navy vet, and I've really felt that a lot more veterans need to be involved in the political arena, and they carry many times a different look on their country. I remember when I was in the service, I was able to have the opportunity to see Romania and Yugoslavia before the Iron Curtain fell, and especially in Romania. And I remember walking down the streets in Romania and then coming back to the ship and seeing the American flag, my American flag, flying on the fantail of that ship. There's nothing like seeing your home in a communist country. I mean, I was there when it was pure communism. I've watched this country in many different ways over the years now and have seen a direction that it's going, and I feel that it's got to stop. So now I'm taking the step once again as a county commissioner, and I know that doesn't have a lot to do with national and statewide issues, but it's a voice, and it can be a very loud voice. With my background, when I left the Navy, I started my own insurances and investments, and I got my insurance license in 1986, January of 86, and securities in, I believe it was May of 92. And have worked with small businesses over the 26 and a half years that I've been in business for myself. And that business, by the way, was started from scratch. My first client was my first client. It wasn't handed to me on a silver platter. There wasn't an agency given to me. It was my hard work and the sweat of doing it. I've enjoyed it, and in that time period, I've helped a lot of people, give a lot of free information out, because the one goal is to help people, which brings me into this position that I'm in right now. My whole goal in being a county commissioner is to make people's lives better. And I believe that the way we make people's lives better is to be out there getting industries in here. I firmly believe that the county commissioners should be the ones responsible for the economic growth of this county. We need to work with places like Fayette and other organizations and other people to grow this economy. I believe that there are corporations out there that in the near future, maybe not right now because I believe everything's still in a stifled state, but in the very near future, I believe corporations are going to be releasing money and starting to look for growth. We have to be ready for that. I don't feel that we're truly ready for that at this present time, but I believe that we have time. As Al said, we're in the near future.
30 seconds.
In the near future, we're going to have some great opportunities, and we have to be ready for it. I believe I can get us there. And that's why I'm out here doing this, and I hope I have support on November 8th to be the next county commissioner. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Vince?
Good evening. My name is Vincent Zabatoski. I currently serve as the chairman of the Fayette County Board of Commissioners. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Herald-Standard Editorial Review Board and HSTV for those who are going to be watching this at home on their TV sets. I've served as county commissioner for 3 years and 10 months. And each day that I serve the people, and that's what we do, we serve the people of Fayette County, it has been an honor and a privilege. And I take it very seriously, and I hope that on May 8th, by your vote of confidence, you allow me to continue that service for 4 more years. A little about myself. I am a lifelong resident of Fayette County. I grew up in Masontown. I currently reside in Uniontown with my wife Carol and our son Will, who's just turned 6. And that's the reason why I think we're all pursuing public service, and we should be pursuing public service, and that is to create a better tomorrow for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. And as Mr. Ambrosini had stated earlier, there are some great things we're on the cusp of some great things in this county with the Marcellus Shale industry, our highway infrastructure nearly completed, our work that is being conducted on some sewage projects in some areas that I feel are ripe for growth because of the infrastructure that has been put in place. So Fayette County needs good leaders. I think I bring a very unique balance of leadership to the government. First of all, I've served the last 3 years, 10 months, but prior to that I had the honor and the privilege of working for 2 members of the United States House of Representatives. And I think that brings a unique approach where I understand all levels of government. But I also understand that all levels of government are not necessarily the answer to our problems. It has to take that combination, that blend of public-private partnership, that understanding that private industry, small business, is still the backbone of our economy and always will be. We all look to bring industry into the county, and I will continue to work for that goal. The past 3 years, 10 months, we've gotten things done under some very trying times with the reduction in a lot of federal programs, the reduction in state funding. We've managed to balance our budget, not raise taxes, and we'll continue to strive for that goal. So I hope on May 8th you look at a very well-rounded candidate in Vince Zabatoski, and you will honor me once again with the opportunity of serving you, the people of Fayette County. Thank you.
Okay, Angela.
Hello. I'm here today before the Herald-Standard editorial board, not for the purpose of seeking an endorsement, but rather for giving the voters an opportunity to hear my issues and how I stand on county issues and how I have effectively represented you as your county commissioner. I not only believe in the philosophy, but I also practice the philosophy that elected officials are here to serve the public and not the other way around. I firmly believe that a person's character and their experience and their qualification is what makes a good county commissioner. So let's take a look at my record. Number one, I do not take political campaign contributions. I don't take them from companies who are doing business with the county. I don't take them from companies who want to do business with the county, not from county employees, and not from board members. And in doing that, that means that my decision is the decisions that I make for the county are in no way influenced. Also, I do not take yearly pay raises. And as I serve as a county commissioner, I serve in 4 capacities that I have done very effectively. One as an administrator of county operations, second as a facilitator of economic development, as a caretaker of our county property, and also as a promoter of our county. If I had to narrow it down into 2 areas in which a county commissioner that you, the public, should look how a county commissioner serves you, I would narrow it down into 2 ways. How does the county commissioner spend your tax dollars, and how does the county commissioner make decisions? When I took office in 2004, we were faced with a deficit. We turned that around. And during that period of time, we've also had at one time a surplus, a reserve of $3.2 million. Since that time, things have dwindled, and I have cautioned and warned fellow commissioners as well as the public that we need to step back and look at our spending plan, and we have done that to some degree. But anyone taking office in the year 2012 is going to be faced with some financial difficulties. And it's not solely because of unfunded mandates. It's not solely because of our high health care and workers' comp costs and our increased health costs, but also because of some of the contracts that we've entered into, and in my opinion, some of the types of spending, the wasteful spending. That too can be turned around. The second way in which you can make a decision on how a county commissioner best serves you is how does a commissioner make decisions? Well, I believe that, number one, commissioners should make decisions that are not for self-serving purposes, or not for one particular person or one particular group, but for the county as a whole. And also that the commissioner should gather the information, sit down, share it with each other, talk about it, have a free exchange of ideas, and present it to the public and vote on it. And when you do that, then you can honestly say that you have made every decision that's in the best interest of the county and for the right reasons, and that's exactly what I've done, and I ask for your support on Tuesday, November 8th.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'll take the first question. According to the 2010 census, Fayette County's population dropped by 12,038 people, or 8.1% in the 2000s. That was the second biggest population next to Allegheny County in Pennsylvania. We're clearly headed in the wrong direction, with the nation's population increasing by 9.7% in the 2000s and the state's population increasing by 3.4% during the same time period. How serious of a problem is this population loss, and what would you do if elected to try and turn this around? We'll start with Dave.
Well, it is definitely a problem in the sense that we start losing revenue. But the one thing that I have paid attention to that I've caught, that I'll say it this way, that I've watched take place in the county for a long time. I mean, since I've been involved, the first time I ran for office was in 1995, and a lot of the same problems are there. And this is one in particular that has to be paid attention to, because as we keep losing the population, we also keep gaining in, I call it, political entitlements. are governmental entitlements. And the one thing that this county has operated on for a long, long time are government entitlements for the government. We've relied on the dollars coming from state and federal agencies to keep this economy going. And I think it's actually time to try to stop that. It's time to start looking at the corporate side and bringing in, trying to work to get corporations and businesses in here so we get out of that realm. When you get out of that realm of being in that cycle of corporate or the government entitlements, the government being on government entitlements, and you get into the corporate side, you start drawing different other people in from other parts of the country back into our county. I know I've talked to a lot of people that have moved back into or that have moved recently into this county as new people coming in and building homes and looking and actually getting work through naturally the drilling companies, through the Marcellus Shale, and through some of the other entities that are like that, Argonne and so on and so forth. And we really need to strive hard to build the economy and build it with businesses and corporations so that the businesses have the opportunity to draw that population in. Now, the one problem that I have found recently...
You have 30 seconds.
The one problem that I found recently that a lot of these corporations are telling me are that they can't find people locally to go to work. And the reason they can't find them locally is because they can't pass drug tests or they don't have driver's license, things of that nature, areas that we have to work on. But at the same time, I believe our population is going to grow just almost on a normal basis, mainly because of the Marcellus Shale and other corporations if the commissioners do their job right.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Vince?
It's a problem that we cannot ignore. It's going to take more than just saying that we're going to bring corporations in. And as far as government entitlement dollars, they are our tax dollars too. And I would prefer that our tax dollars return back to our county than rest somewhere else. I mean, these are federal and state dollars that are going to go somewhere. Regarding the population, I mean, we have to look at and work with our municipalities and our boroughs to look at some residential development opportunities, whether that be through incentives or through enhancing that area back to the word infrastructure, water, sewage, whatever the case may be. But also, we have to continue to enhance the quality of the lives of people. When you look at a new company coming in, they do look at educational facilities. They look at public safety. They look at parks and recreation as a part of the overall mechanism that helps A, relocate their business, or B, your desire to move into a new area. We also have opportunities that we need to take advantage of with the infrastructure in place. We can create some growth through a bedroom community aspect where you can actually live in Fayette County in Pennsylvania and work in Morgantown or work in Pittsburgh with the highway development. So there's many opportunities in front of us, but it's going to take creative minds, rational thinking, and a true desire to see that statistic turn around in the next census. And I think we can do it
30 seconds.
If we approach it in a manner that shows some creativity, gets a sense of realism, and look at incentivizing the residential growth and some other aspects that I had discussed earlier.
Okay, thank you. Angela?
The question is it a serious problem and how can we address it? It's a serious problem, depends on how you look at it. Some people look at it solely as if you have lower census, then lower numbers, then you are not going to be receiving monies from the state and the federal government. And yes, that is a concern, but it shouldn't be your total concern. So you have to balance that. If you want to bring growth to a county, what do? You help create the jobs, and you have a good quality of life. We've been doing that at least I've been doing that in the last 4 and 8 years, and we as a county as a whole and the Commissioner's office have been looking towards that. There isn't any commissioner in an office who doesn't want to see a good population, good growth, and good economy. And it's a matter of working together on that and setting the economic development in the manner in which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit later, and presenting a county that someone wants to live in. And a person wants to live in a certain county because of, number one, the jobs, and number two, the quality of life. So we've worked on it, and we have to continue to work on it, and we also need to step up on the plate a little bit and do this a little bit quicker. I think that economic development agencies, as well as the elected officials, have been somewhat lax, and we could do a little better of a job in that respect.
Okay, thank you. Al?
Okay, I'll put on my consultant's hat here for a minute and answer the question: Is the population decline in Fayette County serious? Absolutely, it is absolutely serious. If you look at the numbers between 1990 and 2000, I think we lost about 8,000 people, and as Mark said, now from 2000 to 2010, we've lost about a little over 12,000 additional people. So the rate of decline is increasing. That's bad. And if we had specific numbers, I can tell you that the decline of our population in the last half, from 2005 to 2010, is probably a lot steeper than it was in the first part of the decade. So we're going in the wrong direction, and if you further look at statistics and look at the birth rate versus the death rate, our death rate is actually higher now than our birth rate, which is another bad indicator. And what that tells you is our people from in our 20s and 30s, in the childbearing years, are leaving. And the reason they're leaving is to look for job opportunities. So, you know, that's exactly who we do not want to have leave Fayette County. We need to do things to get those people back. Now, the very specific things we need to do is, you know, we have some great opportunities. Again, we have some great resources in Fayette County. The Marcellus Shale jobs themselves is not really going to be the saving grace for Fayette County. But the gas itself is a great stepping stone for us to attract industry. And I'm going to target manufacturing industry, companies that use a lot of energy resources, both electric and natural gas. And by having good paying jobs back in Fayette County, yeah, it's going to take work to get them, but that's how we're going to get our population growth back, and then that helps all other industries. And I'm sure the Herald-Standard has seen the signs of our population decline over the last 2 decades too, just like all small businesses. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Bill, you want to take the second question there?
Yes, do I address it to Mr. Amberzini? Or to...
Yes.
Sure. It's rather lengthy, so it deals with unemployment. Fayette County's unemployment rate rose from 9.3% in July to 9.6% in August. We have the 53rd highest unemployment rate among the state's 67 counties. Neighboring Washington and Greene counties, meanwhile, are doing much better with the jobless rate of 7.9% and 7.7% respectively. They rank 20th and 14th. What do you think, this is a twofold question, why do you think Fayette County has such a higher unemployment rate than its neighboring counties? And do you think the current commissioners are responsible in any way for the situation? I guess it's threefold. What would you try to do to lower the rate?
Well, right off the bat, I mean, education, and I say that in a broad sense. What I mean by education is whether it be secondary, post-secondary, or continuing education, or just general job training. As a county commissioner, we appoint members to what is known as the Workforce Investment Board. It's based on a federal provision of law called the Workforce Investment Act. And this is a board comprised of individuals from Fayette and Westmoreland County. And their overall goal is to assess the employer's needs of the county and direct these dollars for training. We've seen some programs implemented starting to show some benefits. In WCCC, they're doing a training program for the roustabout for the gas industry. But I think from a commissioner's perspective, we have to stay in touch with what the needs of our employers are, push to advance the training or the education in those fields. And the national average is hovering around 9 point something right now as well, and we've always been a little higher than national average. Right now we're equal with it, but we have some work to do. And the bottom line is education and training. I mean, that's where the answer lies. And as Al had mentioned a few minutes ago, we got to create not just an atmosphere, but the workforce. And that workforce is going to be that younger person that we hope that we can continue to keep in Fayette County, direct their focus into training that meets the employer's needs, and hopefully see that number decline. I mean, it's been a very rough economy, not just in Fayette County, but nationally. Not that that's an excuse. I mean, we have work to do, and we'll get it done.
Okay. Thank you. Angela.
Well, to address the unemployment rate, it's interesting because it depends on who you talk to. One time you hear, well, we don't have the infrastructure. Another entity you talk with, it's we don't have the workforce. Another entity you talk to is, well, there's just no jobs. Another time you talk to them, well, it's the skill base. Well, what is it? Every time this question comes up, and you look to either the elected officials or you look to the economic development agencies, and they come up with their ideas, it's either, as I just said, one time no infrastructure, next we don't have the education. Well, which is it? And aren't those entities put into place to look at the picture as a whole and to address each of those issues at the same time and not one at a time? Because if we address them one at a time, we're not going to catch up. It's basic. If you want to address the unemployment, you have to address, obviously, the economic development and the job growth. What we can do is we need to provide the infrastructure for the businesses to come in. That's the first thing. Then we need to keep our taxes low. We need to maintain a fair and equitable tax base for the people and also for all of the businesses. Be fair across the board on that, because businesses look at that. And you have to also be business friendly when it comes to when they come into our county and they deal with not just the other businesses, but also when they deal with the elected officials and they deal with our departments. And we must keep an open line, and not just a open line of communication, but a continuing line of communication with those who create the jobs, which are the businesses. The businesses should take the lead role with our educational institutions. They are the ones who know what kind of workforce they need. They should be the ones sitting down with our economic development agencies and the schools and the elected officials and say, this is what our needs are, this is how we are going to grow in Fayette County, and this is what we need, and then we need to work together on that. It's the private market that will create the jobs. We just have to set those incentives, and that can be done.
Okay, Dave?
Everything that both have said so far are true, and it is a complete circle of everything put together. It is the education, it is the incentives to get them out there, it's the businesses, the corporations. But some of the businesses that I've talked to that have tried to actually come into the county and to grow, the one big thing they've actually run into is the red tape, and then the time element. The one thing I've actually witnessed before as far as timing goes is the one in businesses really on a schedule to get up and running. The government's many times is what gets in the way. Whether it be zoning board, commissioners board, whoever it may be, I don't care who it is. Well, the one thing that I would like to see Fayette County do to help try to go after the unemployment rate and to bring more jobs into this county is to get on more of a fast pace through the paperwork, through the red tape. There was a company that they have 2 other businesses in the county, and it took them literally 2.5 years to get through to break ground. And when they finally broke ground, it was because they pushed it on through. They had to have attorneys go through plan work. They had to have DEP, which there is no control over DEP. I understand that from a county level, but all these different entities involved in there is very cumbersome. And if we as the county can get our gear back, get our ducks in a row, and get from point A to point B quicker, and not be the last on the list. You know, over the history that I've watched in the county board, so many times I hear this kind of a statement, well, we still have time because someone else hasn't gotten it done. Well, I'd rather actually see Fayette County, the Commissioners Board, the Zoning Board, I don't care who it is that's attached to this county, go from, well, we still have time, to be the first one on the list, to say it's good, and to get it through. I believe when you take that kind of an approach to business, other businesses are going to look at that and they're going to actually say this county does want us here. And then when they do start looking and go for the opportunity to go to any county, we'll be at the top of the list.
Yep,
because they'll
30
know
seconds.
that the leadership in the county wants them here and will do anything and everything possible to get them here, making sure everything is done properly within the guidelines of the law, but to get it done. And I believe the County Commissioners Board needs to be that friendly to businesses. And that'll actually lower, I believe, the unemployment rate. Help.
Okay, thank you very much, Al.
Okay, well, I guess that, we have to go back a little bit and look at history. I mean, Fayette County, 100 years ago was booming. I mean, I want to make it perfectly clear, I was not around 100 years ago. But it was booming. We had the coal mining industry, we had a lot of foundries, machine shops, the steel industry. We had all kinds of major department stores in both Uniontown, Connellsville, Brownsville. This was a great place to be 100 years ago. But if you look at what has happened over the last 100 years, there's been significant decline. The coal mining industry has declined somewhat. Of course, foundries through some regulation problems, hurt our foundry businesses in this country. The Anchor Hawking Glass corporations, of course, that went away, and there are some reasons for that. And one of them is competition. I mean, I got to tell you, if you want to really focus on any one issue, why we're struggling somewhat with our unemployment rate, not only in Fayette County, but in the nation, it's competition. There's some unfair things that are going on in some other countries. Governments are actually subsidizing businesses over there, but it's not really an excuse. We have to look at competition and we have to say, what can we do?
You have 30 seconds.
And one of the things we can do is we can take advantage of our resources that we have here. We're developing a lot of low-cost energy. Again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but we have to go out and attract manufacturing to come in that utilizes a lot of energy to create jobs and hopefully get Fayette County booming again.
Okay, Jerome, do you want to take the next question?
The Fayette County Office of Planning, Zoning, and Community Development has received criticism for allegedly practicing selective enforcement. Do you think Fayette County should maintain a countywide zoning office? If so, why? And if not, what alternative would you be in favor of?
Angela?
Do I think that Fayette County should have a county-wide zoning office? I said from day one years ago that I believe that zoning should be done on a local issue, a local area, not countywide. You get feedback from some townships that say, well, we can't afford it. Well, other counties can afford it, and the reason that other townships and counties can afford it is because they took a proactive approach. Number one, they took on the responsibility of an elected official, and number two, they went out and they sought the assistance of the local government academy and others in helping to form their own zoning. Zoning should be on it. All zoning should be local. But if it isn't, because the county commissioners have decided to make it countywide, then the county commissioners have a responsibility to make certain that it is properly run and that there is not any selective enforcement or selective unenforcement. I've said this from day one. I've always said it. When I said it, I don't have to bring up the past, but I got criticized for it, and then you had lawsuits and other things. Why? Because you decided to do your job as a county commissioner. You decided that it was time to make sure that if you are going to be responsible for county zoning, that you have to make certain that your office, that you give thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money. You want to make sure that your county land use is properly written, that the zoning ordinance is properly written. Then after the 3 county commissioners have spent over $90,000 with consultants, that it's not read, it's not interpreted, and it's not enforced, might as well throw everything, just throw the book out the window. And here in Fayette County, we don't even do it. We don't do it consistently. Some of our townships do their own zoning, and others don't. I think it can be done either way, whether you do it countywide or whether you do it solely by the townships, or whether you do it the way we are doing it now and allow the townships to, if they want to do their own, that's fine. However it gets done, as long as the county it takes on that responsibility, whether they do it with all 32 municipalities or a few of them, they must be consistent in their enforcement, consistent in the land use plan, and consistent in their selectiveness. You can't have that. You cannot be selective. You have to treat everybody fairly. And if you do that, then it works. And it can't be overly cumbersome either.
Okay, thank you very much. Al?
I think the zoning process, that obviously there's we currently have actually sort of both systems in place already, because some places do their own, like Connellsville, Uniontown, and then we have the county-wide system. But from and I'll just kind of tie this into a little bit of a management perspective. It's always best to drive the decision making down to the people closest to the problem. So from that perspective, I would probably lean toward having the townships do their own zoning, primarily because every township is probably going to be looking at a little different zoning ways to do zoning to make that advantageous for their own areas. It's more representative. I mean, let's not forget we're still a democracy, and it's a representative government. So each township, the people can influence their representatives right there in their township to zone things the way they're comfortable with. So primarily that's the other point is you have to have the right people in those places. You have to have people that are impartial and willing to abide by the rules and regulations. And I think it's going to be important for whatever system we use to make sure to help influence that the right people serve in those positions. Thank you.
Okay, Dave?
I don't know about Vince, but all three of us are going to probably say the same thing. It would be nice for the local municipalities to have their own zoning. They know more about their municipalities than any county office would, because they're in their backyard. And it's kind of like even with township supervisors that I've actually talked a lot to. They said at one time there was rumor that the townships, if they got in trouble, were going to be flipped over to the counties, or there was a little move about that. And I thought that's the dumbest thing in the world, because who knows their townships better than the township supervisors? So, but with that said, yeah, there are issues in the zoning office in general, and more than anything else, I believe there needs to be more training and more knowledge of all the laws that deal with zoning, and the people that are administering them, whether they be in the municipalities or whether they be in the county, which, like I said, I prefer more in municipalities than I would county. They need to be enforced properly and equally across the board for everybody. Everyone's the same. I have a cousin who is a code enforcement officer in a township, and And it's interesting, he made this kind of a comment to elected officials that have, over the years that he's been there, which has been about 25 years, when they would walk up and ask him for a favor, he'd say, here's the code, this is what I abide by, period. I don't care who you are. I've seen elected officials come, I've seen elected officials go. You can't influence me one way or the other. Our zoning office needs that same kind of a thought process and an action taken that they do the zoning by the law, precisely, no matter who it is, whether they're they're a friend of someone or not. But it just needs to be done properly across the board, because I think that also is one of the hindrances in our county as far as the growth for the economy, is that there are some zoning issues and it hits the newspaper a lot, and we can't afford that. Thank you.
The current system in place is what we're talking about. I don't think that any municipality is going to run anytime soon and develop their own zoning. So we have a county-wide system. The only thing that I would like to change and look at changing is I do also believe that local people should make local decisions. And my approach would be to maintain the administrative arm, obviously, at the county level, but then to develop and break the county down into regions and have regional boards. Obviously, folks from Masontown and German Township know better for Masontown and German Township than 3 board members from South Union, Uniontown, and North Union, respectively. So I think everything should be looked at in a regional perspective, where these folks know the lay of the land. They know what they have in front of them regarding the land use plan, but they also know what is in the overall best interest of their area of the county. Do we need countywide zoning, or do we need zoning? You bet. I think it's important to have that structure and that balance. But the word that should apply here is equality. It should be equal across the board. But at this point, I would allow the county to look at the administrative functions, because the townships would not be able to, of course, afford that. But they could develop regional boards, be it 5, 6 regions of the county, and then be able to make the decisions locally.
Okay, thank you very much. Terry, you want to take the next question?
It's another 2-pronged question. At least it's not 3. There's been some talk that Mrs. Zimmerlink and Mr. Ambrosini are running together, and Mrs. Zapatowski and Mr. Lohr. Is there any truth to this? And I'll just continue to the second part. How important would it be as commissioner to work with your fellow commissioners, especially given the problems the current board has experienced?
Who's first?
I'll go. I mean,
No, it's
It's us first. Wow, we're in line to take that one.
Okay, your first part of the question, I can assure you that I've been running my own campaign from the start, and there's no alliances either overtly or covertly going on here. And in terms of working together, when you work in project management your whole life, it's all a team effort. There's multiple people working, and I really look at the commissioner's office as nothing more than a project team. There's 3 people. It's a project team, and they have to get things accomplished for the betterment of the county. And I have a lot of skill sets that can lend itself to working with the other 2 commissioners in that team environment. So I can assure you that will not be a problem for me, and I can do. I have a lot of ways to help, pull other team members together to accomplish our goals and objectives that we'll set in our strategic plan. Thank you.
Beat you. First off, out of every campaign I've ever run, there's always been rumors, this one's running with that one's running with this one. No, I am not running with anybody. I don't want them to carry my baggage, and I don't want to carry theirs. Simple as that. I mean, there's people out on the street that's going to support two candidates over the other two candidates, and vice versa. And that mix is going to be out there no matter what takes place. I mean, this past weekend, you saw a sign blitz hit this county, and that sign blitz was Vince Abatoski and Dave Lohr. We didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, yeah, they did run it through they ran my cost through my campaign, and you will see that on my financial reports. But this is because people like different candidates. It has nothing to do with teaming with each other. That does not happen in my book. It'll never happen in my book, and I don't care who thinks it does or not. I know earlier in this campaign I had to deal with the same stupid question, and I don't mean it's a stupid question from you. It's a stupid question that's been on the street. Angela's had to deal with it. Vince has had to deal with it. Al's had to deal with it. And this is politics. That's what it truly comes down to. It's politics. None of us, anyone who's running for this office, in my opinion, and wants to do the right job for the county and for the people. That's the reason I'm out here. I'm sorry, I would not waste my time for a year if I was doing it for politics reasons, personal gains, or anything like that. It's out there, I'm out here for the right reason. As I said, I've told a lot of people, the first week after this campaign's over, I'm spending the whole week on a bulldozer spreading topsoil for relaxation. That's my goal. That's where I want to be. But when it comes to working with each other, I've said this for a long, long time. The three county commissioners have to work together. If we're going to develop this county in the proper way, put the proper face on this county for people to look at, for people to be proud to live here, the three county commissioners have to put a very strong, united face on it. Even if you hate each other behind the doors, that's fine. Don't show it in the public arena, because we need to be united in the public arena, working together to build the county to make people's lives better. And I promise you that I will work with my fellow commissioners.
Okay, thank you. Vince?
Well, as was discussed, political rumor is political rumor. The fact is, we're here to talk about some serious problems, not whether or not Al Ambrosini and Vince Abatoski or Angela Zimmerlink or teaming up or whatever. As far as discussion goes, or maybe debate, and I like to look at it that way, it's healthy, it's good, it's what our country has been founded on, is to have a good exchange of discussion, and I think that's a good thing. I've been raised to work as a team. I was taught that at an early age by Leroy Bailey in Little League, and continued it through my collegiate playing days. And I believe that a team concept in the end carries you to victory. But I also think during that approach that you don't always have to agree on the same play. I mean, there's an exchange of discussion where I'm not always right, I'm not always wrong, I'm not always right though. So having that ability to agree to disagree respectfully, understanding that, and I'm certain that all four individuals here love this county and are willing to make any commitment in working together to see this county grow. I'm not going to dwell in the past, because the old adage, if you don't learn from history, you tend to repeat it. This campaign is today. It will begin, the administration will begin in January of 2012, and that's going to be an exciting time. The opportunity to working with two of these individuals as colleagues. I'm not going to live in the past. It's not worth the discussion. I'm here to talk about the good things that we can do for Fayette County's future, and that's what it's all about.
Okay, thank you very much. Angela?
I'll answer your two questions. The first is whether or not I am running with another candidate. The answer is no. I am campaigning on my own. Actually, I've never heard the rumor that I was running with Vince Abatoski. I never heard the rumor that I was running with David Lohr. I heard one person say that I was running with Al Ambrosini because one of my 6 4x4 signs happen to be next to his sign. I don't know who put the sign up first, and when I say next, probably within 5 feet of each other. To answer that question, no, I'm campaigning on my own. To answer the second question, I think it had something to do with working together, given the situation of the current county commissioners. Well, you had problems in, the first term, 2004 and through the first 2004 term. You had some discussions and disagreements between Hardy, Vasides, and Zimmerling, just like you had them in prior years, and you had them here with Zimmerling, Vasides, and Zabatoski. But and you will have that. Okay, I agree that you will have that. But some people look at and put this on Zimmerling, that Zimmerling can't get along with anyone. Well, that's not true. Okay, first off, I work well with others. I work, and all you have to do is just watch the meetings, listen to me. I'm truthful, I'm honest, and I delve into a problem. When a person is going to have a problem with me, I don't care if it's David, Al, or Vince. Whoever gets into office, and if I am lucky enough to get in and serve again. Yes, we will have a problem when and if, and I hope it doesn't happen, when and if there is not an open communication and a sharing of ideas. Because 3 county commissioners are elected.
30 seconds.
Majority and minority, and you have to pull everyone together. Everyone should share the information and have an open, honest discussion, exchange of ideas, and once that's done, then you vote. Once that's done, I can live with the end result, because that's called a representative government. It's the situation beforehand. It doesn't always happen, but it has happened. Well, does it happen in government? Yes. It won't happen as long as I am a commissioner, and if that means that, Angela Zimmerling is the commissioner who's not getting along, I'm not going to get along if something is not done right, because that's my job and that's my role as a county commissioner.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'll take the next question.
Is it going to be as much fun as the last one?
We'll see. What do you see as the county commissioner's role in the development of the Marcellus Shale industry? Do you think the Marcellus Shale Task Force has been effective, and do you think it should continue? What do you think has been the best or worst thing that the task force has done to date? We'll start with Dave.
Okay. The Marcellus Shale industry is, in my opinion, one of the most important things hitting this county. And along with that, the commissioners definitely need to be very active in making sure it's done properly, but also that it's getting done. The impact tax is just around the corner, and a lot of the township supervisors say it's not quite enough, but it's something that could be coming. And we do need it. We also need not to discourage it. It does need, like I said, and I'm going to reiterate this, it does need to be done properly within the laws, within DEP and anyone else, all the other government agencies out there, to make sure it's done right. The fracking water needs to make sure it's being taken care of properly. In fact, actually, there's a couple of repurifying systems that are coming along. I know Chevron's actually talking about putting one into the system, and none of these companies that are the Fortune 500 companies are ever going to put their names online to do something wrong, especially such as Chevron and Exxon. When it comes to the task force, everything's always good as far as information that is getting out there or information that is coming in. As long as the information is thoroughly looked at, it has clout, and it's done properly. What I have seen some of these I saw a film here a while back, and I was appalled by the film. I'll be honest with you, I was appalled by it. In fact, after 5 minutes of it, I was ready to walk out, because it was so one-sided that it just basically said all the oil industry had to go away. We basically we can't go back to bicycles because oil is in tires. Anytime that anything happens with anything, you have to have oil, you have to have gas, you have to have some kind of industry or something from that industry to actually make it happen. What I have a problem with anything that if it goes into a negative direction on the task force, or when it goes into the negative direction on any movies or any films, biographies or anything, is that they usually go one-sided. We can't afford to go one-sided. We have to make sure it's wide open, making sure things are done properly from both sides, from people who don't like it and people who do like it, such as we were talking about. Discussion has to happen. That's what this country was built on, and that's what this industry has to go forward in Fayette County with. Is good discussion and moving forward with it. I'm 100% in favor of it.
Okay, Vince?
The task force, obviously, this was an item that was debated at a commissioners meeting, and I did not agree with forming the task force under the auspice in any way connected with the county. I just did not feel that the county had oversight over anything outside of zoning. I mean, and those, the planning and zoning office, I mean, that's within our jurisdiction, within our realm of government. David said earlier that government slows things down. Well, if you start involving government entities that have no responsibility in something, it sure isn't going to speed it up. I felt that there are environmental regulatory agencies. In the state, we have the Department of Environmental Protection. At the federal level, we have the Environmental Protection Agency. That is their charge. That is their expertise. And I felt that they will and should and will conduct environmental oversight over the Marcellus Shale industry. As far as the task force forming and being out there, I mean, that was their prerogative. That's the freedom that we all have to form any committee we want, as long as we operate within the confines of the law. And I think that have they provided some good information? You bet. I do think they have. And I even said at a meeting, if there was something that they were doing that I supported, I would proclaim that. But again, I think the county's role should be within the county's jurisdiction and not extend beyond that. So the Marcellus Shale industry, we have control over certain aspects of it, and the state and the federal government will maintain their regulatory oversight. And as long as we do that consistently, I think the industry will thrive in Fayette County, and the residents of Fayette County will see a positive impact for decades to come.
Okay, Angela?
Can you repeat that? Because you had like 4.
What do you see as the county commissioner's role in the development of the Marcellus Shale industry? And do you think the Marcellus Shale Task Force has been effective? And do you think it should continue? And what do you think has been the best or worst thing that the Marcellus Shale Task Force has done to date?
The role of the county commissioner with Marcellus Shale industry is to welcome industry without sacrificing the health, safety, and welfare of the public. That's the role, as I see, as a county commissioner. And to address many of their needs. With the impact fee, we're going to have to address those needs. So, you know, are you going to take a role? You're going to take an active approach, or are you going to take a backseat approach? As far as whether or not a task force is needed and has been effective, well, number one, there are 19 other counties that have task force. So take 19 times 3. That's how many county commissioners have determined that their county needed a task force. I was outvoted. I can live with that. We had an open discussion. I was outvoted, so I decided to form the task force on my own. Should it continue? That's going to be my decision, with the decision as far as the other members of our task force. It's a task force that is made up of volunteers. So, you know, there's no one else here in this room who should have a say of whether or not it should or should not continue, because none of you have actively been a participant in it. I welcome you, and I will extend an invitation again to anyone here. But that decision will be made by those people who have put their time, their energy, and their efforts into it for the good of the county. Those are the ones who have the right to make that decision. Secondly, as far as it being effective, yes, it's been effective. Ask many people within Fayette County. We've put on public forums. They've been well attended. I do thank the newspapers for coming and reporting on that and sending that information in their newspapers for those who were unable to attend. I also serve countywide. I serve on the County Commissioners Association Task Force. I learn a lot from that information. We have an exchange of ideas. I learn from other county commissioners, and they learn from me. The County Commissioners Association had suggested forming a task force. Actually, even the Marcellus Shale Coalition suggested counties forming a task force. Task forces have been very helpful, and in this instance, it speaks for itself. And I'm proud of it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Bill, you want to take, this will be the last question.
Don't make it-
I'm sorry.
Just because I said you can't.
My apologies.
That's okay. Okay, first of all, yes, absolutely, the county commissioner should work closely with the Marcellus Shell industry. Actually, they should work closely with any private sector industry, both inside the county currently and other industries to try to get them into this county for obvious reasons. Second part of the question is the task force, a good thing? Any mechanism by which you can disseminate information to the public that doesn't understand maybe the industry, and let's face it, there's a lot of this is a fairly new industry. The technology is new. A lot of people don't understand it. So yes, we absolutely have to get that information out in any relatively structured format of having forums for people to attend. Obviously, the news media is pretty important to help get that message out, and sometimes those forums, there's some debates. There's some people with strong feelings on either side, but that's the way America works. We need to get out and talk about why somebody is for something or somebody is against something, and then by that exchange of information, maybe people can see the bigger picture, and so basically, yes, I think it's a good mechanism, and I think certainly we should go forward with it, because the industry, we haven't learned everything yet. I can guarantee that this industry is much bigger than most people can imagine right now, and it's really going to be a great stepping stone to the prosperity of Fayette County. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to question number 6. Let's see. We'll start with Vince. Yep.
What do you think of Governor Corbett's proposal to give 75% of impact fees, not a tax, from the Marcellus Shale to counties involved in its development? Do you think the remaining 25% would be enough for DEP to do its job in protecting the environment?
Actually, I think we should get more, to be honest with you.
Should get a lot.
I don't think that the 25% is a split. I think the areas should receive the preponderance of the revenue derived from an impact fee should it be implemented. Simply based on the fact that you've just heard it. The municipalities have these trucks moving down the roads. This is what it's for. Environmental concerns that may arise locally, you have these funds here. You also have the ability to spin and grow off of this industry and utilize revenues economically through your economic development organizations. So no, I think if you look overall with the state and their division of some of the fees, we're often left with a pittance. So at this point, with the seriousness of this industry, the revenue that's going to be coming in, I think it's only fitting that it stays locally.
And you think that 25% will be enough to protect for DEP?
Well, I think when you look at the overall, you're adding that in addition to current DEP funding levels, exactly, as well as EPA funding levels. So you're bringing that together with other appropriations that these agencies receive, either directly from the state appropriations bill or the federal government. So yeah, let's look at it. They've been gas isn't. It's new as far as the industry, some of the technology, but they've been fracking for quite a few years now, folks. And also, shallow wells have been in place for how long in this area? So it's an industry that has solid footing. So I think the DEP is fine where it is. financially, I think these monies should stay local within the county and the municipality.
Okay, Angela?
I think it's interesting, but I'm not actually surprised that when Marcellus Shell came in and people raised concerns over the over the negative impacts, obviously, that Marcellus Shell had on our county, that those who raised those concerns, they were called job crushers, people who were against economic development, and that you should keep quiet and just let Marcellus Shell and the industry come in. Now, people are acknowledging, well, there are impacts. So all those naysayers, we were called the naysayers, you don't need a task force, you don't need to look at the negative impacts. Now all of a sudden it's, well, yeah, we ought to look at the impacts. Well, why? Is it because Governor Corbett has now decided that, he's always looked at it at some source of revenue, but that he has now sent his proposal for an impact fee? Now everyone says, well, you know what, maybe we ought to take a look at this. I just find that amazing. I know that happens in government, and I think that's sad. Should there be an impact fee? Yes, there are impacts. So we have an impact fee, and what most of the money should, it's called an impact fee for a reason. Most of the money should come back to those counties and to those municipalities that have been impacted, and we have to address it. As far as the split, I don't have all of the details. The governor in Harrisburg has the details. If I was a state legislator, then I would be able to tell you whether or not the 75 or the 25% is a good split. 75%, I believe that the counties can work with that, and we have to, it's a matter of how it gets divvied up between the hosting county, the municipalities that have the actual Marcellus Shell drilling, and then they also remember some of the municipalities who are not that do not have direct drilling also receive those monies. You may want to tweak that a little bit, because I think from what I had read, that 75%, it was like a 37, 36, and then a lower number. That may need to be tweaked a little bit. But as far as having the 75%, I think that that's a good start. But I think that we talk about this, but it's all going to happen in Harrisburg, and as you read in the newspaper and you heard from your fellow state legislators, there's going to be a lot of discussion. So that impact fee and that proposal, it may come back to us within a couple of weeks, and it may be something totally new. But at least they're talking about it. They need to act on it a little bit more quicker. And yes, we do have to have the impact fee because the municipalities and the counties have been negatively impacted, not only on an environmental level, but even on some of our administrative functions here in the county.
Okay, thank you very much. Al, didn't forget you this time.
Thank you. Well, first of all, to address the percentage split, I'm going to look at that as a little bit with a skeptical eye. First of all, we have the DEP, and that's going to be, as Mr. Zapotowski said, it's going to be added on to their their current funding. And what do? They provide oversight. So it's just basically going to be paying for people. That 25% of that budget statewide, or that tax statewide, that's going to be a pretty lofty piece of change. Okay, then you look at, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with that money? Well, we have to fix things. We have to use that for our roads. We have a lot of county bridges we have to fix. A lot of those bridges right now can't even hold the capacity of some of the traffic that the Marcellus Shell industry is going to bring. So we're going to have to replace some of those bridges. It's very expensive. Then you look at the fact that 75% is going to be divided up not only between the 67 counties probably, but between the townships that within the county. So yeah, I would probably say that the county commissioners ought to be going out and lobbying our state senator and state representatives to work hard to get as much of that as they can for the counties and in our townships, because we actually have to fix things. So, you know, that's pretty much my my take on it.
Okay, Dave.
25% DEP is just, in my opinion, totally out of line. They already charge a fee. They already have the personnel. I have just a major problem with them getting anything on the impact fee because they're not being impacted. They're already out there. They're already getting paid. They already have personnel out there on the street paying attention to these wells. I firmly believe that the full amount should come back to the counties because the counties and the local municipalities are the ones that are getting the most impact on everything dealing with the drilling, the roads, you name it, the roads, bridges, you know, so on and so forth. But the other areas that aren't being that haven't been said here yet is the impact on the hazmat side. We're going to have to talk to, you know, our fire companies and our hazmat, our 911 is going to has to be updated. And the one thing in particular, which the county is already looking at helping to do through 911, is digital radio systems that are going to be coming into 911 and all the fire companies to actually operate, and that's a mandate that came down from the state. So the state's not helping with any money on those mandates, and the grant is only at $1 million through all the fire companies that have actually participated in this grant system. So in my opinion, that the impact money that's coming in from the drilling needs to actually be looked at, as I said, 100% come here, because there's going to be a lot of bills there's going to be a lot of costs that's going to be needed through the county, the municipalities, the fire companies, you name it. It's going to happen. It's a positive. It's still a positive regardless, you know, even with the impacts of what's coming in from the drilling companies. It's still positive because it doesn't matter. What I feel when it comes to the economy, anything that we get a stepping stone off of is going to be good. It's going to be controlled. It's going to be looked at. And as I said earlier, you know, Chevron's not going to go out here and do something illegal or do something wrong. They have way too much online. I mean, it's ridiculous for someone to even think that a company's going to put their reputation online to cut a corner on drilling a well. I don't know if you've seen the actual drilling sites
You have 30 seconds.
or the layers of the drilling process for the fracking. They have a steel pipe, concrete, steel pipe, concrete, steel pipe. There's 5 layers sitting out there. The impact is not an impact, in my opinion, on an environmental side, but the impact is on the surface where we're running our roads, we're running over the bridges, the streams, that whole thing. Yes, we need that money for that area in particular. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that's going to conclude the question part of the meeting today. And now we're going to move into the final closing statements, and the candidates you have 3 minutes. The floor is yours. You can talk about things that we've talked about, or you can bring up something that, you know, we haven't talked about. It's up to you. So we'll start with Angela.
Well, number one, for voters who want more information about me and about where I stand on issues and to get my correct voting record, I would ask you to either call me or go to my campaign website, which is votezimmerlink.com. What this really comes down to is who you believe is the qualified and experienced individual who can best serve as your county commissioner, and I do believe that I am that person because I have a proven record. And I have experience in the office, and I know what needs to be done, and I've done it, and I'll continue to do it. I have a proven record of being fiscally responsible with our tax dollars, and I have a proven record of treating people fairly, and I have a proven record of implementing procedures that enhance the county. I have a proven record that I believe in open government, and I have a proven record of doing what's best for the county. So I ask for your vote on Tuesday, November 8th, with the confidence that your vote will be the right vote. Thank you.
Okay.
So, Mark, I want to thank you for the forum here and the chance to again get the message out, and this is a great vehicle to do that. Basically, I just want to say that hopefully some of the questions that we had put in front of us today, kind of demonstrates some of my views and the fact that with my background, work experience, education, that I can bring some added leadership to the Commissioner's office, and basically professionalism, capability, and cooperation. In terms of the county improvements we could make, again, there's just remarkable opportunities out there, and we just can't let them slip by. So we have to continue to look at what we have in front of us in terms of. The amazing part is we have a tremendous energy infrastructure, and that's really going to be the key to getting manufacturing positions and creating good jobs and working with the private sector. I've obviously worked with the private sector in various levels my entire career, and I think that bringing that experience along with my skill sets and to the Commissioner's office will be a significant advantage. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Dave?
Well, I first want to thank the Herald-Standard for the opportunity to be here again, and also the voters in the primaries. You've given me the opportunity to be here and through the general. So that's a great privilege for me, and I hope that you remember me on November 8th to give me the privilege to serve you. First off, I like to solve problems, and I believe that in the county we're going to be looking at some problems. One right now has been the prison. The prison has been an issue for a long time, and there's going to be some hard decisions made. There's going to have to be some inventiveness take place in the commissioner's seat to get some things resolved that's coming down the pike in the county. That's all I'm going to say about that kind of stuff. What I am going to say, though, is that my 26 and a half years in business, of being self-employed and doing cold calls, I'm one of these people that like cold calls. A lot of people shiver when they're in sales about cold calls. I have been doing that for 26 years. I enjoy it. It's something I kind of thrive on. I plan, and it's a little outside the box, but I like to do things outside the box. I like knocking on doors. I believe that we have some opportunities out here in the near future because of what I know about the business I'm in. I believe that we're looking at an economy that's going to actually explode within the next year. Now that actually goes against a lot of the people that I actually listen to on the conservative network, because I am a conservative, very much so. The reason I believe that is because we've actually watched the underlying work of the economy, the foundation work of the economy start to grow. That's your machine shops, that's your manufacturing industry, that's your trucking industry, your transportation systems. Those areas have actually started to grow already. People can't, the trucking industry, they can't find people to drive, they can't put enough boxes in the box to transport. They can't find machinists, they can't find welders, fabricators. All those are the underlying stages of a strong economy in the future. I believe after the presidential election, we're probably going to see the corporations start releasing the $7 trillion that they have in savings accounts currently. And when they start doing that, they're going to be looking for places. I want to be a county commissioner to be out there finding those people. And we can do that through a lot of ways, through association books, through our people that are here in the county. I've always been amazed that we go outside the county to find people to develop businesses when we have businesses all across this county that were developed and built years ago by families that knew what they were doing. I want to go after even opportunities like in Highlands Hospital right now with the autism. Some of these guys have already heard this. But at the same time, the autism program is coming from Cleveland Clinic. I'm a diehard. I believe that we need more than just the autism program from the Cleveland Clinic. Right now we have Highmark, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and UPMC fighting with each other. We also have Health America Health Assurance that's basically whining and dining Cleveland Clinic to become part of their network. And if they do that, that's an automatic clump of business for the Cleveland Clinic. If we can get them more business, or we can get more avenues into the Highlands Hospital or even the Uniontown Hospital, I don't care where it goes, just as long as we can actually bring something else in from them, and I'm going after it. I know a lot of people have said, well, that's not the commissioner's job. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Anything that puts a face on this county for economic growth is a commissioner's job, and I plan on being that face that's going out there. And my fellow 2 commissioners, I'm bringing them with me, because it's not a self-glorifying thing. It is something that I want the commissioners board in this county to do, is make people's lives better tomorrow. That's my goal. And in a 4-year time period, if I'm successful with 1 person, I'm successful. That's why I want to be a commissioner. Remember me on November 8th. Dave Lohr. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Vince?
I'd like to thank the Herald-Standard Editorial Review Board and those who have watched this on television for an opportunity to convey who I am and what I believe in. I ran for this position in 2003, fell a little short, did it again in 2007, and was successful. And I've enjoyed every minute of service as your county commissioner. I hope that on November 8th you will have the confidence again in me and allow me the opportunity to serve you 1 more term as a county commissioner. David had mentioned about county commissioners. Well, in all due respect, this county commissioner, and for that matter, Commissioner Zimmerlink, we were responsible for bringing the autism clinic to Highlands. We met with them on several occasions and motivated them to pursue Highlands as a destination site to enhance, obviously, the lives of children afflicted and their families afflicted with autism. And that's what I bring to you as a county commissioner. A creative vision, a desire that we're not done yet, and we'll never reach that goal, but we're going to continue to work for it to make Fayette County better. I have a 6-year-old son. I want to give him the opportunities when he's 18 or 20 and returns home from school, that he has the opportunity to stay in this county. Now, that's going to start, and it has started now, but that will continue as we move in the next Board of Commissioners and the next administration. My background allows me to work with our federal delegation, our state delegation, and understand what levels of government is about. But more importantly, to be able to bring that into the courthouse. And now with my experience of 1 term as your county commissioner, I ask 1 more time to entrust in me 4 more years, and I promise you, I will work hard, I won't let you down, and we will achieve our goals together. As a team, as a county. Thank you.
Okay, once again, want to thank the commissioner candidates for agreeing to meet with the Herald-Standard.com editorial board. And want to thank you out there for watching. We'll see you later.